Hello and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. For those of you joining me for the very first time, my name is Natalie, and we are going to have a look at what the Oracle cards have to tell us about the energies for the week ahead. I hope that everybody has had a good weekend. I hope that everybody's week is off to a good start. We just had the Gemini new moon, and it just feels like this energy is intense. I know so many people are going through a whole lot right now. Okay, so we are starting with the Ascending Life Oracle, which is a MahrukhX deck, and I haven't used this deck in a few weeks. We just have some cards sort of jumping out of the deck, and I just want to see what they are before. Okay, I just want to pull one more. I keep seeing one. Okay, so we'll have a look at all of them and then we'll put it all together. So the first card out is Bridge, another phase of life, transition, need to find common ground, bridge the gap. Then we have Poor Health, neglecting health, health needs assessment, mental health conditions, and addictive habits. Travel, long distance travel, waiting to escape, a new adventure, a journey to the next level. I thought that was what it said, but then I convinced myself I was wrong. Then we have Brick Wall, insurmountable obstacle, blocked for your highest good, not able to make progress, time to do things different. Cleanup, sweeping away negative situations, cleaning up your life, decluttering your mind, simplifying your life. And then that final card that I needed to come out was Stepping Stone, taking one step at a time, don't rush the journey, gradually building on success, the start of something bigger. So there's been a theme for quite a while with all of these readings about new chapters, new beginnings, and sort of moving forward just in a new direction. And I think that this is, while we have all these crazy astrological transits, and I know that they continue into next year, I think that there is so much shifting that this is why it's continually coming up. And so this week with the Bridge card, I think this could be again about being in transition and moving to a new phase. But I also think there is that element of, if you've been at odds with people, finding that common ground and figuring things out, bridging that gap between relationships. And I think in a time when we're all being tested, we're all being called to be really honest about what we need. There's been a lot of talk recently, certainly in my world, about new boundaries and what each of us require in our lives to be able to function and move forward. And I think that whenever people are implementing new boundaries, whether that be you or somebody else, it creates disharmony and friction because we are used to people showing up in our lives in the way that they are. And when they implement new boundaries, that can create tension because we're going, hang on, you've always shown up for me like this and now you're not doing it. The same can be said for the reverse. When you are being really clear and saying, okay, this is what I need, moving forward, this is how it's going to be. And people in your life could be going, well, this is not how we do things, and I need you to show up the way you've been showing up. And so that can create a lot of tension. And I think there are moments in time where we need to let relationships go and let people sort of exit our lives. Sometimes it's as simple as just sort of stepping back. But I think this is a moment where we need to look at everybody's needs and try and figure out a way to move forward. And that doesn't mean saying, well, okay, I'm going to let go of my needs or my new boundaries. But what it means is having the conversations, even if they're uncomfortable, so that you can figure out a way forward. I think with all this upheaval with the energies, it's a time where we do tend to neglect our health, and we don't take care of ourselves the way we should or the way that we need to. So this is a week to sort of stop and have a look at how you're treating yourself. Are you indulging in drinking, smoking, I don't know, marijuana use, whatever it is? Maybe instead of drinking 1 coffee a day, you're now having 3 because it's the only way to kind of make it through the day. Whatever sort of addictive habits, and it doesn't need to be consuming things. People can be addicted to shopping. They can be addicted to sex. Addiction can show up in a million different ways. So just pay attention to how you are taking care of yourself. And of course, if your mental health is not coping, or it is being tested, make sure you reach out to somebody, whether it be a friend to speak to them, a professional if you need sort of more help than what a friend can offer, because obviously as friends we can offer support, but we can't step into that role of therapist if that is actually what we need. So just make sure that, because when we are being tested, it's easy to self-medicate. It is easy to feel hopeless and lost in amongst all of this stuff. So just make sure that you are taking care of yourself in the way that you need to. And again, if you've got people that you're battling and they're not being supportive in the way that you thought they were, that can mess with our head. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself. This may be a week where you're looking at traveling or wanting to escape. So if that's the case, maybe it's time to plan something, even if it's just a weekend getaway, so that you can escape. Maybe tell people you're going away if that's what you need for your mental health. Maybe it's a staycation where you get to stay home and rot on the couch, or just, turn your phone off and say, you know what, I'm not going to be around, even though you're going to be at home, but you can hang out with your pets, or completely on your own, ordering takeout and just doing what is going to replenish your energy and your soul. It could also be that as you're moving along in this sort of chapter of your life, that there is a new adventure that is starting. So it could be about leveling up. So I think there's movement. As much as we're feeling frustrated and stagnant at the moment, I think that there is movement starting to come in, and that is either leveling up, or it's going on a trip. It's doing something to propel you forward in some way. So make sure you enjoy all of that. Like I said, this energy is so all over the place, and I get it. We're being tested. I think that the trials and tribulations that we're going through on this journey are what are making it feel like we're getting nowhere, when in actuality we are moving forward, we are leveling up, and then we're feeling like we're hitting a brick wall. So things are feeling like we just cannot get past these obstacles. The hurdles are too high. We just can't get over them. But we have to remember that I say it all the time, the universe's rejection is your protection. Things sometimes get blocked for us because it's not going to serve us. It's not going to help us. And sometimes it's more about being redirected and finding another way forward. And I feel like that's part of what's happening this week. There are things that aren't working because they're not meant to. There is a different way you're meant to get to where you're going. And so if you hit one of these obstacles, okay, great. And maybe the obstacle comes up so that you can take that time to have that staycation, or to get away for a little bit of time. And sometimes it's just you feel like you're being blocked, but you're not actually. And that's going to come to this last card, the stepping stone, which is it's about taking one step at a time. Don't rush the journey. Like, you have to go through this process. And sometimes it's that tiny little step forward. It feels like you're getting nowhere, but you actually are, because those tiny little steps add up to a huge distance over time. Have you ever been out, either in your car driving and you've just witnessed it, or you've been out for a walk and you've seen this, but you get those people that are running, but it's like they take these tiny little steps and they're almost running at a walking pace, but they've got the action going. Because this is what I'm thinking. Because when I walk with purpose. I walk at speed, which one time going to an audition, I managed to walk straight into a plate glass window that I didn't see. And it was so loud, and I hit my face with such force that I did not know what happened. I'm sure I had a concussion. But you see these people and you're like, oh, that's really cute. Look at them. They're moving slower with their tiny little steps than what I'm walking. But all of a sudden you look up and they've moved such a huge distance. I feel like that's what this stepping stone card is. You're thinking that you're not getting anywhere because the movement forward in your goals and towards what you need to be moving towards feels like you're getting nowhere because the steps are so minute. But the reality is you're like that person taking those little jogging steps and doing the action. But there is momentum there. There is that speed, and you are moving forward. And that's all that needs to be happening right now. So the other thing is you need to celebrate those little steps and those little wins, because it all adds up to something much, much, much bigger. And it's all leading you in the direction you need to go. So then we have the cleanup card. And this is about sweeping away things that don't serve you, getting rid of those negative situations. And part of that is going to be your mindset around the obstacles that you're hitting, and it's going to be around how you're taking care of yourself. I think that those are the two biggest things that you need to sort of clean up this week. And it's about tidying up your life, looking at what habits aren't serving you, changing those. It's about decluttering your mind, getting your internal dialogue moving in a really positive and in a really positive way that is going to help you and propel you forward. And the other thing is decluttering your space, because when you have clutter in your physical environment, you have clutter in your mind. You know that feeling. And look, I would much rather pay someone to clean my space. I don't do that at the moment, but for 10 years I did, and it was wonderful. And it brought me so much peace. But when your space is clean and tidy and all of that, you feel so much better. So as somebody that hates doing it but has to do it on a weekly basis because I'm the only one responsible for it, I hate doing it. But every time it's done, I sit down and go, I feel like I can breathe a little easier. So this is the week where, while there's so much sort of up in the air and it's almost like positive and negative, even though I think it's all actually positive, it's a week where you have to take responsibility for what's going on in your environment and what's going on in your mind. And that way you will be able to move forward a little easier. And that's why I think this cleanup card came out ahead of the stepping stone card. I know we spoke about it in the reverse, but I think that by decluttering all of those things, it's going to serve you in a much better way for you to be able to move forward and have those steps maybe be a little bit bigger than they would have otherwise. So now we're moving on to the Emergence deck, and I always do 3 decks with this reading, but I actually have 4. So the last 2 decks, I'm just going to pull 1 card from each of them. And if you look at the thumbnail, it's me with my inner child, and I've got my unicorns there. And so we're pulling 1 from the Inner Child Oracle and 1 from the Magic of the Unicorns, because I couldn't decide which one to use. And then when I sat down, I was like, yeah, it has to be both. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so we are going to pull a couple from this Emergence deck. Okay. I do want one more. Okay. So the first card out we have is the Goose, Synchronicity and Storytelling. So I think you have to look for the synchronicities that are showing up for you this week, because in a week where you're feeling like you're getting nowhere and there's tension and everything's up in the air, but really, you know, everything's happening for your highest good and to redirect you and get you on the path that you're meant to be on. I think this is a week where you need to look for the synchronicities that the universe is sending you so that you understand that you are actually on the right path. And with the storytelling, my gut tells me people are going to give you information this week and tell you things, and you're going to get information from that is going to serve you well. And it may, at the time when they're talking, you may sort of go, okay, yeah, whatever. Because you know how sometimes people are talking and we're like, okay, I'll listen because I love this person, but it's not really relevant to me. I'm listening because it's important to them. I feel like there's going to be something that comes up later that sits with you. So just pay attention to the information that is being put down in front of you. I think it's all coming from the universe so that you're getting the information that you need. Then we have the Rabbit, fertility and creativity. And we think of fertility in terms of pregnancy and, you know, fertility in that respect, but fertility can be the growth of new things. So if you are working on new projects and moving forward with certain things, this fertility is playing a part in all of that. So, and your creative mind is what's creating all of this. So tap into that creativity, focus on where it is you're meant to be going. And the creativity as well is going to be where you need to look for a different way forward. Because when we get these blocks, often it is a redirection. So we have to get creative, and the universe does this to us so that we are able to get to where we need to go the way we need to get there. So just pay attention to that. Then we have the Swan card, which is self-love and soul connection. And this comes back to our poor health card. This is about taking care of you. This is about doing what you need to take care of yourself so that you can have the best possible outcome. And I think that this is also where the travel card comes in, because while it can be about leveling up, I think that if you need to escape, that is part of what needs to happen this week. So just make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Now, obviously, with the fertility card and the soul connection card, it could be a literal creation of a child. I mean, I don't think that's what it is in the broader sense for everybody, but I think that for some, this could be a turning point. So if that's what you're wanting to do at this point in life, good luck with it all. That's an exciting new chapter. So now we're moving on to the Inner Child Oracle. This is Amanda Lynn Aisling. Okay. And we have flow with the rhythm. Get lost in the rhythm of movement today. So I think this is two things. This is one, we can take it in a literal sense, and there is something to be said for actual movement, putting on music and just moving your body. It gets it literally gets energy moving through your body. And then there's a whole thing about moving your body out of time to the music, and that does something else. I'm not even 100% sure what it is, but I know there is a name for it, and it there are therapists that use this sort of technique where they get people together and they get the music on, but you're not allowed to move to the beat. You have to move out of time. So I think that there is something to be said for moving this week physically, and that could be going for a walk. It could be putting music on and dancing around your house, going and doing an actual dance class, but doing something to get that stagnant energy in a place of movement again, because that will get everything else moving along. Now, the other side of this is that I think that part of it is to relax into the energy, because we are, for the moment, still in Gemini season. And I think this is very much a moment where we kind of have to surrender to what is going on. As messy and as frustrating as it is, it's stagnant, but then it's moving quickly, and it's, it feels chaotic and hectic. And so what I would say is this is also a week not only where you have to physically get the energy moving, but where you have to surrender to what the universe is doing and go, okay, it's going to take me where it needs to take me, and I'm just going to go along for the ride. So when it says flow with the rhythm of the universe. Just trust that it's going to get you where you need to go. Trust that in this moment, you only have control over how you respond to everything, but you don't have control over the chaos that is taking place around us. And if you'll notice, and I think this is probably a trend that you're all experiencing, I know that everyone in my life is going through it in some capacity, but often where there are themes as to how people are dealing with all of this week or these past couple of weeks have felt like everyone's going through it in very different sectors of their life. And so no one person is going through it in the same way. The commonality is that we're all going through it, just full stop. So surrender to what is. It'll make the ride so much easier as opposed to fighting it. And focus on getting yourself moving in the literal sense. And I think that will help shift a lot of this. Okay, and now we're going to pull one final card from the Magic of the Unicorns. Okay, which one is it? All right. So then we have manifest your dreams, focus on your vision, seek satisfaction and contentment. So to me, this is confirmation that this is a positive week. This is about shifting the things that aren't serving you, cleaning all of those things up so that you are able to move forward towards what it is you want to manifest. And it's all possible. The question is, are you going to relax into it, or are you going to fight it all the way? So, like I said, figure out with the people in your life that you need to figure things out with, bridge those gaps, have those uncomfortable conversations, make sure you are taking care of you and doing what you need in order to feel nurtured, to feel energized, to give yourself the energy to move forward. If that means taking a break, great. Make sure you're cleaning up the space that you live in physically while also clearing what's going on in your head so that the self-talk is positive and helping you rather than hindering you. Because the reality is, one of the most important things that we do in this world is how we speak to ourselves. And if you exist in a negative space and a critical space, that is the energy that you are going to exist in. And if you exist in a really positive place, that's the world and the energy that you create around you. And make sure you're celebrating those little milestones and those stepping stones, and support yourself as you're making that progress, even if it's those tiny little steps, because you know what? You're doing better than everybody else that isn't. So, yeah, dive into it. Make sure you take care of yourself. If this is about a new chapter and things that you're creating, dive into that creativity and get lost in it and plant those seeds and nurture the little sprouts that are coming up in terms of growth from all of that. And if you're actually wanting to start a family, have a great time while you do that. But just know that when you start moving the energy and you don't get lost in the trials and tribulations, which are part of the journey, it's all positive. And this is about manifesting your dreams. This is about leveling up. This is about clearing out the things that don't serve you. And it's all going to be okay. I hope you all have a wonderful week. We are halfway through the month. So if you didn't check out the June monthly Oracle Wisdom, make sure you go and check that out because we still have a couple of weeks. If you did, go back and rewatch your reading and see if it's accurate. And always let me know in the comments. I love hearing whether things are or aren't accurate. And I will see you all next week for the weekly Oracle Wisdom. Have a great week, everyone.